everyone. We're going to establish this trig identity. Secant theta minus tan of theta equals cosine of theta divided by 1 plus sine of theta. So the first thing we're going to do is let's work on this is pretty simplistic here. Let's work on this side and break it down using our identities. So secant theta equals 1 divided by cosine of theta. All right. Tan of theta is sine of theta divided by cosine of theta. So basically they have the same denominator. So I can write this as 1 minus sine of theta divided by cosine of theta. Now what you notice is what happens is you've got this flip-flop thing going on. You have the cosine flipped here, and then these are flipped, and the sign is different. So what you have to do is multiply by the conjugate. And the conjugate we want to do for the numerator. So the conjugate is 1 plus sine of theta. Whatever you do in the numerator, you also have to do in the denominator. So you have to also multiply your cosine of theta by 1 plus sine of theta. Now we're using the fact that a minus b times a plus b equals a squared minus b squared. All right, so when I do that, I'm going to get 1 minus 1 minus sine squared of theta. Thinking ahead too much. Divided by cosine of theta times 1 plus sine of theta. All right. Now, this is an identity. 1 minus sine squared of theta comes from your Pythagorean identities. And if you solve for cosine squared, that means you subtract sine squared from both sides. You're going to get 1 minus sine squared of theta. So I'm going to substitute 1 minus sine squared of theta with cosine squared of theta. And also, cosine squared of theta, and I'm just going to write it like this, just means you have 2 of these. So you cancel those out, and you're left with cosine of theta divided by 1 plus sine of theta. So if you have to prove this in class, you want to show your work that you multiplied by the conjugate. And that will show that. If you, also your teacher might make you write it this way. You have to write it again. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.